Hello, my astrology friends. Today we're talking about the energy of new beginnings. You know how it's very hard sometimes to get ourselves to do something new, to get unstuck. We get stuck in the same routines, in the same lifestyle for years and years, or months and months, or weeks and weeks, depends. And we can't motivate ourselves to start something new. This is a big problem for almost everyone. There is a lot of resistance to starting new things. That's why Aries, the strongest sign, rules new beginnings because you need the biggest push to start something new. And today, my guest is astrologer Jaymie, who will lead us through the 12 signs and what is the optimal way for them to start new beginnings, optimal environments, maybe advice on how to do it. And you can use your ascendant sign. We're using tropical. If you want sidereal, you can use it. Uh, Especially looking at your ascendant sign, because this is the physical reality we are in, your moon sign, how to motivate yourself emotionally, if you know it, and your sun sign, which is very important as well, especially for motivation to get things started. Check what Jaymie is talking about, the three signs from all three of those positions, sun, moon, and ascendant, to get ideas how to unblock the stagnant energy and give yourself this spur of activation. We're doing it, of course, during Aries season. And Jaymie is also offering anyone only till the 20th of April, till the end of Aries season, a specific reading about how to get things started, the ultimate environment, like a schedule for you according to your personal horoscope, what will help you get unstuck and start new beginnings, a step-by-step program how to do it. And it's only available, it's a one-off reading, it's 60 minutes live or 10 pages written, whatever you prefer. I'll put the link below if you'd like such a reading for yourself. That's only available for the next 20 days approximately. So hello, Jaymie, and let's dive straight in.
Hi, Lada. Hi, everyone. Yes, so I'm super excited about this. It's something that I wanted to do for Aries season. And like Lada said, this is going to be for tropical, and you can do it for sidereal if you want as well. I designed it to be inclusive for everyone, so you can do whichever one resonates with you. And I do recommend, honestly, checking both ascendants because for me personally, my in my Vedic chart, I'm a Gemini rising, and in my tropical chart, I'm a Cancer rising, and I personally resonated with my Gemini rising more, but I intentionally chose to be a Cancer rising in my like connect with it more in my 30s because I believe that we're spiritual beings here to have a human experience. So to me, it makes more sense when we're getting older and getting closer to death and going back home to connect more with the Vedic chart or the sidereal chart.
Don't
Um,
worry, you're not dying, you're not
no,
getting
no, no, no,
old
no,
on
no. But like
30.
the reason why I did that is that like as a Gemini ascendant, like I really connect with it, but I'm very ungrounded and I'm disconnected to my body. So connecting with my Cancer rising, it helps me to be more present. And I feel like I'm very good with navigating the spiritual realm, being cerebral. So for me, I felt like a lot of the things that was like difficult for me, like I wasn't able to achieve things because I wasn't physically present. So I started in my 30s intentionally switching to my tropical zodiac, and that's really helped me out. So I just wanted to share that story. So I do recommend that you try both of them because depending on what I'm doing, sometimes one seems to work better than others. Like I feel like life comes at me in a very Cancer rising way, but I try to like move in a Gemini rising way. And once I realize that, I'm like, oh, I should switch kind of thing. So I think it's really interesting. But yes, so this is definitely something that I'm really excited about. And so we'll start with Aries. So basically, whenever we're trying to start anything new, we're looking at your ascendant because your ascendant is about your physical body, the environment that's optimal for you to start something new, and it's about the best way for you to navigate your life. And oftentimes, what happens is that sometimes people aren't operating out of your ascendant. because maybe like I've seen this a lot with like Scorpio risings, for example, where they're told that they're too intense. So they overcompensate, or people like people pleasers or high maskers will try to operate from like their Taurus side or try not to be so intense and stuff like that. And then what kind of happens is it's almost like you're trying to live your life, but you're a little bit like out of alignment.
Uh-huh.
So understanding your rising sign really does make a difference. So with Aries rising, now you are represented by the most youthful and physically active sign. And so one of the things that's really beneficial for Aries risings is when it comes to starting something new, unless you have something in your chart like Saturn on your ascendant, being daring and taking risks is something that's really beneficial. You might have a lot of experiences, and a lot of you can let us know, with your experience as an Aries stellium, is that a lot of times people, a lot of Aries, unless you have something that changes your energy, people are like, you're being too impulsive, you need to stop, and stuff like that. And there's a lot of projection that takes place. But the thing about Aries is that you have to remember you're represented by a ram that can handle blunt force traumas. So you're actually here to kind of like figure things out. And one of the things that really bothers me about a lot of things where they talk about like how to get started with discipline and stuff like that, there's like a lot of stuff where it's very neurotypical. It expects you to have linear thinking. It's not neurodivergent friendly. So they'll be like, discipline comes after action, or action comes after discipline. And, but it's different for everyone. And for Aries rising, taking action is the step first, and then you'll figure it out along the way. Like you
Okay.
don't do it expecting to do it correctly or kind of plan it. Like you're not Mercury rolled. If you have Mercury in your ascendant, then yes, you have to kind of like plan things a little, but for the most part, it's very much about just taking action.
Just jumping in the cold water. Don't even test if it's cold or warm. Just jump.
Exactly. You're like, there's a water. Let me see if I'll go. Let's see what happens. It's very much when I with my students when I teach astrology, I refer to Aries as like the fuck around, find out sign and
Exactly.
stuff. Like that's basically like the thing. And for Aries, one of the best ways to get started is to find something to fight for and leverage challenges because you're ruled by Mars. And oftentimes, like, one of the things is that sometimes, like, with aspects, people will be like, oh, blue is positive, red is negative. And because blue aspects are easier and red aspects have more challenge, but that doesn't, the people misunderstand that. Like, you can have easy access to serial killers. Like it
Yes,
doesn't,
easy access.
it's like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily always like the red and blue just kind of tells you how easily you can connect with the energy. What type of energy it is varies. And so with Mars, people actually do better because Aries is ruled by Mars when there's challenges. Like when you have Mars trines, it's a little bit more difficult. And so Aries are really good for fighting for the
Weird.
underdogs. And
Mhm.
actually, I was thinking about your dad a lot when I was thinking about this, because I think you mentioned something about your dad being like a protester. And I think you mentioned that he's Aries or something.
No, no, he's a Leo.
No?
He's a
Leo. Oh,
very strong Leo.
so never forget that part. But it's interesting because like a lot of people associate protesting with Aquarius, but I do think that like a lot of people with like Aries chart and stuff where it's like you have something to fight for and advocate for and be outspoken. These are really good sort of Aries energy.
Mm.
So something that's really going to benefit you is when you want to get started on something, think about like what pisses you off about it, or what do you want to change, or what challenge do you want to overcome. These are going to be things like just pinpoint the thing that you're like, I want to work on this. I want to fucking change this. And that's going to be the drive that really helps you.
That's absolutely true. I have stellium in Aries, 4 planets, the sun there. The only thing that gets me is when I get angry. And when there is a problem, because Aries wants to solve problems with Mars. When there is a problem, I get activated and I'm unstoppable then. When things are
Yeah.
calm and peaceful, I cannot start new things. I can't. It's like, and I think it's similar to Scorpio's Mars ruled as well. They
Mhm.
need a crisis. Aries needs a problem, like you said, so, or something to piss them off.
Yeah.
When my biggest change is like someone comes and says, your website sucks, I can't figure it out. There it is. I'm gonna start doing a new website. So it's definitely Aries should be okay when things frustrate them and get them angry,
Yeah.
because that and put themselves in that situation that gets them definitely.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the case wherever you have Mars in your chart in that area of your life. And I also recommend that like you take a look at natally where Mars is in your chart or also in transit. This can help you. So like if you have Mars in your second house, maybe you're food motivated or use your resources, basically like do things that kind of help you. So if you're mad about like your financial situation or you're frustrated by your financial situation, let these things motivate you. With Mars in your third house, what can help you get started is regulating your nervous system. Thinking about like your mindset, working on your mindset and stuff like that. But maybe like if you're having to do something where you need to read and study, like exercise at the same time, go walking in your neighborhood, talk to other
Yeah.
people in like your
It's like
environment.
brainstorming. Third house, you start like talking to
Exactly.
everyone about your issue. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or
And
I write because Mars is in my third house. I write when I have an issue. I start writing it on my phone or on always carry something here, and I write it and I try and solve it written way. So and I read
yes.
a lot about it. ChatGPT, what should I do?
It's funny because like when I get stressed, like a common thing is they're like, "Oh, if you're feeling overwhelmed, like and you don't have like your executive functions aren't working properly, they're like instead of writing, they're like try to talk it out." And I'm like, "Oh no, when I get mad, I want to type." And then it gets like my brain revved up and stuff. So, yeah, that's definitely a good thing. With Mars in your fourth house, it might be good for you to get you started in your home. That can be an environment. In your fifth house, make it fun somehow. Make it enjoyable. With your If it's in your sixth house, make it be something that's part of your daily routine. Find a problem to solve. This is kind of similar to when we were saying like find something to fight for. Essentially, if it's in your seventh
Optimize,
house.
but the sixth house not so much fighting. It's like optimize.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. Yeah. For the seventh house, you can recruit another person that's motivating you, that motivates you. In the eighth house, this is about shared resources. It's your ecosystem of like Mars is your ascendant, so it's like it's you, and it's in your eighth house of other people's resources. So it's leveraging other people's resources, but also yours. So it's like creating that ecosystem of like, what do you guys both have together that you guys can do in order to solve something. It could also be processing your traumas, which if you want to do that, the my most popular video that I did with Lada on process your traumas, that was the first video we did. You can check that out and you can get more details on that. With Mars in the ninth house, you can work with astrologers, coaches that specifically motivate you. You can use philosophy, what your spiritual ideals are, working on your growth mindset.
Oh, go travel.
Yeah, that's another way. Exactly. And with your 10th house, it's again your Mars, so you don't have to think through everything, but because your 10th house is about your success, think about like what do you want to be successful? Just have that in your head and then take action. And then through the action, you'll kind of like figure it out and let your instincts take over to kind of use that as like the trajectory in order to move in the direction that you want to go. Because Mars is very physically active, so you need movement. In the 11th house, this is about collaborating with people who are highly independent, motivating, energetic friends, um, and working with people that can maybe support you and think about the kind of society that you want to leave, the legacy that you want to leave behind in society. These are things, and also just looking at your online community, but like your
Yeah.
friends are going to be really beneficial. And with your 12th house, this is where you have Mars hiding here. So like a lot of people who are Aries risings with like Mars in your 12th house, like you guys are usually the people who are like, I don't really resonate like the traditional Aries person. And it's because like your energy and your stamina, all of that is hidden. But you can do things between the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., which is the hour of your 12th house to get shit started. And It might not be the most physically active, but you can still use physical activity like swimming if you want to try some sort of physical activity. Because like when you are in movement, that does help you. Using prayer or imagination to get you inspired and get going are going to be things that can really help you. And right now, we do have Saturn in tropical zodiac, the Saturn and Neptune transit here. So the energy is going to be a little bit different because you have slow-paced Saturn, and Saturn is about delays, but it's also about being strategic, structured, systematic, and it wants to come correct. And then you have Neptune, which is a little bit more of a lazier planet, but also represents inspiration, creativity, deeper meaning, spirituality. So you may find that it's not easy for you to get started the way you've been able to in the past, but I honestly think that this is good because basically Saturn is likely to block you if you're not doing things in the way that's the best for you. So what's important is if you just find yourself unmotivated, look and be like, okay, well, how can I do this strategically? How can I do this correctly? Find the deeper meaning of things using the energy of Neptune. Pray. So it's actually really beneficial because now with this transit, it's operating in a way where when you're moving, it's like you know you're not wasting your time because if it's not aligned, Neptune will dissolve it, Saturn will block you. So,
Yes, so
the-
definitely, if you're not right now, very good point, Jamie. For the next 2 years in particular, with Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Aries, anyone who is strong Aries, if you're starting new things and there is a lot of blocked doors, it might be a sign from above.
yeah. So you don't want to force and power through things. One thing that you can do, and actually everyone can do this because we all have Saturn and Neptune on in Aries, and we can work on this in like wherever Aries is in your chart. Like for me, I have Aries in my 10th house of career, right? So if I'm trying to do something in my business and it's just not working or something, rather than trying to like force it and power through it and stuff, you can use the energy. So Neptune rules the feet, Aries rules the head, right? And so giving yourself and Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, which rules your nervous system. So you can give yourself a scalp and a foot massage. And this way you can kind of start thinking because you blend that energy of like you want to think, right? You want to use your head up here, but then you want to be grounded. So you get like a foot massage. Now, you can do this. You can actually go to someone who does this for you, but you can also go on like Amazon. They have like those socks that have like the layouts of like the acupressure points and stuff. So you can actually do the foot massages on yourself. And then they also have scalp massagers that you can use as well. They have one that looks kind of like a spider web and it like
Yes.
massages you. So that's something that you can do in order to like kind of get some clarity.
And I want to mention this. This is only for the next 2 years. So
Yes.
while Saturn is there. But otherwise, if you're Aries rising or strong Aries, you need to jump in. Just
Yeah.
currently for 2 years, you need to be more cautious, but there will be a lot of new beginnings because Saturn calls for new beginnings. You just have more worries. Can I do it? Like Saturn makes you doubt, and you need to kind of be more persevering as well. But otherwise, Aries, when they feel the pull to start new beginning, they should immediately act on it. That's
Yeah.
generally.
And you can also like when those doubts kick in and be like, should I do it? Should I not? Be like, let me find out. It's like do it to find out because Neptune is also going to protect you and Saturn too. So these are things that you can kind of work with essentially. But also I do think that there's value in really taking advantage of Saturn here because when you do that, Saturn, once you master it while it's on your ascendant, it can last for like the next decade or so where you can literally retrain yourself in the next couple years to instinctively take action in a way that's correct. Like you'll start being more systematic, you'll start being strategic in a way that's just instinctive and automatic.
I think it's for life. If you master
Yeah.
it, and this kind of reckless, sometimes devil may dare energy, you mature it to
Mm.
still when you have new ideas to act on them or new impulses, but to also be cautious, which is Saturn, of course.
this is like calculated risks kind of
Yes,
energy. That's
exactly.
what it is.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what Aries should be doing for the next 2 years in particular. But generally in their life, take risks.
Yeah.
If you wanna
I mean,
start something new, no one else will take the risk but Aries. It's the bravest sign anyway. So
yeah. And that's why you need to do it because you're here to inspire the rest of us, you know? And that's why so many people are that are scared will project and be like, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. And
no,
you need to
Aries can.
prove that you can actually. Like
Aries
that's what
can.
you're here to do.
Yes, they're the ones. Usually I'd be cautious, like be careful. And but with Aries, I say you just have to go on, even if you don't. But usually the universe will support you if you keep trying new
Yeah.
things and jumping in because you're fulfilling your energy and your mission.
Yeah. And Aries is a cardinal in an angular house. So it's like you're here to start new things anyways. And that's how literally Aries is the most youthful sign. And Aries is always starting new things. It's like, you know, that's how you stay young. So
Okay.
with Taurus rising. So the next sign always dissolves the energy of the previous sign. So while Aries is really impulsive, Taurus is that opposite energy, and Taurus is the most fixed sign. It's a fixed sign, it's an earth sign and stuff. And so it's sort of got like this mixed energy. It's kind of like in a different way, but having Mars in your 12th house, where it's difficult to get started because Taurus is where you maintain things. And so I always tell all of my Taurus clients, which is very different from Aries, be careful with the things that you start because whatever you start, you're going to maintain it for a very long time. So
It's
now in personalized consultations, because of this, for Taurus risings, I tend to do something different, not for everyone, but I might look at other planets or their moon if it's better aspected, like if a planet is invisible, has directional strength, is in angular houses and stuff like that. But overall, like you move a little slower. So I would say with Taurus, Cancers, and Pisces, you move at a slower pace than other people. Like everyone has their own rhythm, so it's important to honor that and give yourself patience and time. And I would say manage your resources responsibly so you can give yourself that extra time before you get started. Taurus is about managing your resources, your money and stuff like that. Make sure that you are able to afford the time that you need to get started and essentially sort of like get that momentum. And what's going to help you to get started is to pick something, whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's starting your own business or you want to move or you want to travel, tie it to something that drives pleasure for you, whether it's food, art, whatever that is. This is going to be something that can help you.
you're
And
activating the Taurian energy. It needs to have some kind of tangible reward. So, oh, you're
exactly.
gonna climb up that, you have to start working out. Make sure that at the end of your workout, you end up at the pub, have a nice lunch or something.
Yeah. And this sounds a little weird, but leverage your nose and your throat because Taurus rules these things. And so you want to activate your olfactory senses. And what you can do is you can use specific scents, whether it's through essential oils or even like a tea, like, I mentioned food, lotion or something where it's like you prime your body. So whatever it is, if you're like wanting to learn something new or you're trying to start something in your business and you have like a place that you go to, you have your favorite cafe, you have your signature drink, you have your signature scent or whatever it may be, every time you smell that, it's like you prime and cue your body to get started when it comes to this. It can be flowers, it can be different things.
That's very interesting. For example, I'm trying to imagine it, but say you're programming yourself for different smells. Maybe you can have like
Yes.
a lavender to sleep or to start working out, get like some always when you smell the smell, it makes
I
you
do
want to
cinnamon.
move or something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of choose
Peppermint.
different smells or colors, one of the five senses to that you
I actually do
associate
that.
something with.
Yeah. Because I'm naturally very ungrounded and I'm an early ADHD diagnosis, so I don't always track time. Like I think a month goes by and I think it's just been like barely a week. So I have like each day of the week. Like the sun is ruled by Sunday, citrus, Monday is the moon, something floral, Tuesday is Mars, I do cinnamon, Mercury is some sort of like grassy thing. You guys, I haven't done this in a long time. Um, Thursday is Jupiter. I can't remember what that is. Friday is Venus, and I do like Pomarosa. That's the flower that everyone says if you don't like lavender. Saturday is I think like my wild card, or I think I do like Copaiba or something. But yeah, I do have different things for different days of the week. And I try to have like different scents for when I do different activities. The system kind of fell apart though, but it's a good way to do
But
it
I
when it
think
actually
Taurus can stick with that. They can motivate or with a
absolutely.
song. They can have a song that say you want to start a business or something, and this song is like your cue because it's five senses, one of the five senses to
So
activate you.
yes, that's actually that was the throat part. So because like so the throat is Taurus and sometimes the voice is associated with Taurus, but that's technically more Mercury, but you can
No,
still use your
humming,
throat
talk,
chakra.
singing, it's Taurus.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's about like so it's like you can use your voice because like even in like human design, for example, like your throat chakra is one of the manifesting energy centers. So you want to use this and you can activate your upper body and like your throat, your voice, your arms, your hands. It's very Mercury, which activates Gemini, which is the next sign of Taurus, and the next sign is always the resource and stuff. So Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo, which are mutable signs, and so they can sort of mobilize Taurus. You can, so on that note, I know I've already mentioned food in like your local neighborhood. That's very Gemini. You can walk and stuff, like use the resources of Gemini, talking with your friends, regulating your nervous system, speaking, writing, um, planning and saying things in different languages. It activates different parts of your brain and stuff. These are things that you can do. You can also look at your third and fifth house, because these are houses that have good aspects to your ascendant. And so in your third house, you have Cancer. And for different reasons, Taurus and Cancer rules food. So you can have food and stuff, but also having things related to your mindset, what you think, and do these things like the things that you eat and what you say to yourself in a very, do it in a very Cancer sort of way, something that's deeply feeling that helps you feel safe. Do something that's emotionally soothing, because one of the best ways to shut a Taurus down from getting started is to push them and force them and force them. They're just going to be like, well, I'm not going to do shit, you know? So it's like, instead, you want to create that sense of like safety and, you know, that sort of thing. And what can help is to be in consistent communication and contact with your loved ones, whether it's family or friends that feel, or neighbors that feel like family to you, that, and specifically people that are like, that make you feel comfortable, but also inspire you to gently take action. Like, you know, you want to be careful because Taurus moves pretty slow. Sometimes people can project and get really impatient with you guys, but it's really important. There's a difference between moving at your natural rhythm and being stagnant. And sometimes people don't know the difference. So you do want to be careful about who you surround yourself with. And you also want to make sure you're not stagnating too. And then with leveraging your fifth house, this is about your pleasures, your natural talents and stuff. And you have Virgo here. So this is where you can incorporate things in your daily routines and stuff. Find practical and logical ways to to get things started so that you actually do it. You know, think about why you want to do it, the benefits that are going to come from it, and then create a practical routine. Now, even though, and so I do also recommend that you look at your sixth house as well. Usually, like, so the first and sixth house, they're not connected, but these two, the for Taurus risings, it's connected because they're both ruled by Venus. And so when it comes to your daily routines, when you're trying to get support, maybe work with someone one on one, discuss ideas with someone who's going to motivate you to get started. And these are some things that you can do. And for Gemini risings, The best way for you to get started is to be sure to be in a state of enthusiasm, excitement, curiosity. Geminis love to learn. It's all about having that brain high, that dopamine boost, that shiny object syndrome, trying new things, experimenting and stuff. Like these are the things that really get you started.
They need to be
And
curious about something. If they're not
yeah,
curious about it, they cannot. That's not the thing to start anyway. If they're not
yeah.
like, super interested in it.
That it's because Gemini, it rules your nervous system. So as a Gemini rising, like in order for you to get started, you need to do things that it has to be, it has to come from your interest-based nervous system, essentially. So that's really important. And so like providing yourself a nervous system support will help you, but also when you're excited, you're naturally going to get started on things. And you can learn a little bit more about Gemini in one of the videos that Lada and I did on secrets of the 12 signs. And I talk about the archetypes and the personalities between the twins, which you can check out. So I won't take up time in this
I
video to
usually
talk
put all
about that.
Jamie's videos in the same playlist so you can find out all the videos we've done with her.
Yes. So that's going to be really beneficial. And like I mentioned, with the giving yourself nervous system support, doing breathing exercises and stuff is going to be really beneficial as a way to kind of pace yourself. So, because the thing is that sometimes Gemini can be really enthusiastic and stuff, but if you're on overdrive, you can run the risk of experiencing analysis paralysis. So, doing breathing exercises, writing, Gemini rules your hands and stuff. These are things that you can do. And I keep working on so many books, and I keep thinking that it's like one book, and then it ends up becoming like 10 different other books. So, we'll see how it turns out.
Well, if you're
But
Gemini, anyone Gemini rising, they can start two things at a time rather than single.
absolutely,
Gemini
yeah.
too, so it's okay if you're starting two things at a time rather than, even though there is this danger of scattering your energy, but Gemini can do it. They can multitask or even starting two things parallel to each other. That can motivate them.
Yeah. I have a theory that because there's been studies and people are like, oh, like there's no such thing as brainstorming, and then it's like, or I'm sorry, multitasking. But then there's also studies that show that like people with ADHD do better doing multiple things at the same time. And I have a feeling that people with Gemini actually are in that boat, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I just haven't,
They
I haven't
go
proven that
ADHD.
astrologically, but I think it's true through brain scans and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
But the thing is that one of the books that I'm working on, like because Gemini and Aquarius rule ADHD and stuff like that. And so if you're experiencing executive dysfunction, one of the things that I recommend, and I'm an early ADHD diagnosis, is like move your hands, move your fingers, move your ankles, because then you're getting that energy of getting started. So these are things that can help you speaking in different languages, kind of like what I mentioned it with Taurus rising, because Gemini is the next resource. But when you speak in a different language, you activate different parts of your brain. This is something that can help you. And like I said, using your hands. So this could just be something as simple as like moving, knitting, playing music, hand drumming. Gemini rules musicians, but more specifically instruments with like where you work with your hands. So these are things that can really help you.
I would say even knitting, things
Yeah.
with anything you do with your hands, or Gemini is the energy of moving from one room to another or going for a walk. Like when you
Hmm.
really want to motivate yourself to start something, doesn't matter what, go for a walk with your thoughts.
Yep.
Just if you feel unmotivated to do anything, just start moving from one room to another. It can, yeah.
Yeah. I've talked about this in, I can't remember which video of ours, but basically, we make more connections between our left and right brain hemisphere when we're in movement. So that's something that I really like to
Ah,
do when I walk. And I have Gemini in my 12th house with my North Node. So walking is like basically like North
break
Node,
is the
like
rest
my
week.
nervous system intensifies and stuff. But I also have more connection to the spirit realm. I'm sorry, what did you say?
Did you say sorry, I interrupted you, my mistake.
Oh no, oh, I thought you said something. I was like, oh, I want to know what you said.
I said,
Um,
like, would walking be like a meditation for you or no?
yes, yes, that's exactly what it is. And it connects me to the spirit guides. And like with my North Node here, it like makes my nervous system like kind of amplified and stuff. So what I do is I walk and I literally tell my brain, I'm regulating my nervous system. That's what I'm doing. I'm connecting to the spirit realm and I'm asking for prayers. I'm asking for guidance. And I call it walking and manifesting, and I recommend this to a lot of my Cancer rising students and stuff. Where I'm like, if you're trying to figure things out, if you're trying to regulate your nervous system, you're trying to brainstorm. I like to do what I call walking and manifesting. So that's one of the things that I do. So walking is definitely a really good thing. And I think the other thing is that a lot of Geminis in your enthusiasm will get really excited and be like, oh, yeah, I totally want to do that. And then eventually they realize, like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that because Geminis are ruled by toddlers. And so sometimes there's like this enthusiasm, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, like, if something is exciting in the moment, it doesn't mean you want to necessarily do it. So what I recommend is before agreeing to do something, breathe through it and get into the practice of communicating, like, you know what, I'm really excited about this right now. I really want to do this, but I need some time to really process this and sit with it. And again, the next sign is always the resource of the previous sign. The next sign is Cancer. So you want to feel into your body, connect with yourself. And I always tell Gemini risings, like, take the time to determine if this is actually something you want to do before actually committing. Because sometimes Geminis will start feeling really shitty, or people will get mad at Geminis. So then they're like, well, I don't want to say anything, or I don't want to get started on anything. And it's like, no, that's not the solution either. Just give yourself time before you commit to something. So, and let's see. I'm looking at my notes here.
And I've seen also Gemini rising people, strong Gemini, started as a game. Gemini rules games.
Gamify
The
things.
name
Yeah.
and see how it goes. It's kind of hands-on. It's like toddlers play. They don't need even kind of to know what the project will be, how it will end. They just jump in hands-on.
Yeah. And in tropical zodiac, Uranus is going to be going into Gemini next month, right?
That will help them start so many new things. Anyone who is with Gemini, there will be a big, big help here because even if you don't want Uranus will force you. It will awaken. It's usually when it's in your sign, it's by your own personal desire. It's you just get awakened to totally new beginnings and opportunities and so
I've been so obsessed about giving myself nervous system support because I've been like, oh my God, my North Node is in my 12th house, Gemini, and Uranus is going to come through here and stuff like that. So I've been like thinking about it a lot lately. And it's interesting, the how you feel about Uranus kind of tells a story of like your life. And so I've seen some people in like your Facebook group, for example, a lot of like some people are like, I don't see the point of Uranus. I don't like it. I just think it's so problematic. And I like Saturn better. But here's the thing, Uranus destroys what's not meant for you, what doesn't support you. So if you constantly have this shitty experience with Uranus, it's not Uranus's fault. It's because you're doing, trigger warning,
that's true.
you're saying and doing things that you shouldn't be doing. So Uranus needs to go and just blow shit up. It's not like Uranus wants to do that. That's just what's necessary. So if you keep having negative experiences with Uranus, I encourage you to look at like your life and where does shit keep being blown up? Why does it keep happening? What are you doing? What are you not doing? What are things that you can do differently? These are going to be things, and there's going to be more sensitivity in your nervous system. So pay attention to that as well. And let's see here.
I would say also for Gemini people with strong Gemini, get around young people. That will help motivate you. People
Oh,
with youthful
yeah.
energy. Gemini is very youthful energy. I'm not saying hang out with teenagers if you're 50 years old, but this kind of young mentality will can help you really being around younger people can help motivate you to start things.
Absolutely. So with Cancer rising. Now, this is a little counterintuitive, right? But you want to mix the you want to work with the mixed energy and blend it all together because you have Cancer that's a cardinal sign in an angular house, but it's also a water sign. So the angular and cardinal energy wants to push and be like, go, 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 go. But water just wants to chill. And I'm very literal, like the way I think, because I have a lot of Dharma yogas in my chart, and people are like, wow, you think so like different and it's so impressive. How do you think, how do you come up with these ideas? And I'm like, I'm just very literal. Like I feel pretty unsophisticated. So I'm like, imagine trying to push water. Like, what do you think is gonna happen? It's not, unless you're talking about ice, which is like Scorpio, it doesn't really work, you know? Like you could try to like push fire and like you can move it, you can move air, like earth, like
Blow it. Yeah, but
yeah, exactly, like there's movement that works with other things, but with water it doesn't work the same way. And the thing is that cancers are here to practice patience, and I'm a Cancer rising, you guys, so like, and something that I've realized is it's important to flow with the energy of delays, because when you don't try to do things right away, you are forcing yourself to practice patience, which is really important. And one of the things I started doing is I realized, like, when I try to do things directly, that shit just doesn't work. And then I thought about it and I went down this rabbit hole, you guys. Cancers are ruled by crabs, and
exactly,
crabs work sideways. And
exactly.
I literally went through this phase where it was like, wait, there's 30 degrees, there's three different decans. I was like, I wonder if the different species of crabs make a difference. There's over 4,500 species of crabs. So we're just gonna ignore that. But like a lot of times I'll try to do something and it doesn't work. And I used to be like, is it because I'm doing something wrong? Am I not supposed to do it? And I realized, oh no. So cancers are, it's water signs. You're not linear. We're opposite of earth signs, which are inherently linear. So when you're trying to do something, think about what is a more
Approach it
inefficient way of
sideways.
doing it.
Approach it
Exactly. Like
sideways.
doing it sideways. Like that's the way to do it. And when you do
Now
this, you
also
are
with
naturally moving
water,
slower.
because as all kind of lifeguards will tell you, when water pulls you in and you're swimming, never swim directly to the shore. You'll drown. When there is like currents pulling you in, always swim parallel and sideways gradually till you reach the beach. So that's the way for all cancers should be, like not heads on. That's like Aries, go butt your head there,
I didn't
It's
know
like
that. I'm not a
sitting
good
around.
swimmer. I learned,
Try kind of like
yeah.
uh and yeah, so I've also think like cancers can, you know, sorry, I lost my train of thought, but go back.
Oh no. Yeah, no, but I actually use that tactic in order to get on your platform because I was like really like efficient, and I was like I put everything in the email, and then I like picked the time that was astrologically advantageous and it wasn't working, and I was like I don't know how else to do it sideways. I was like I already
You
sent the
rush to
email.
other people.
What?
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Kind of
Yeah.
go cuddle up to other people and help do
Mhm.
it.
And I actually reached, so like when I reached out to Chrissy, I was like, hey, I was like, I sent Lada an email a while back and I haven't heard from her. And I picked a time that was astrologically advantageous. And I was like, but I was like, I imagine Lada's busy. Is there like a time that I should follow up? And I think I'm not sure, but I want to say if I didn't say it, I was thinking like another like maybe next month, or I should follow up. I think I tried to create some sort of delay, and Chrissy came like at me very Virgo and was like, I just checked Lada's email. She didn't look at it. So he was like, he's like, I'm gonna reach out to her on this day and I'll let you know by this time. Like he got very Virgo. Like it's not like I'm gonna sit there and be like, hey, you didn't respond. What's up? But he was very like Virgo about it. And I was like, that's great. But when I was thinking about this, I didn't do this, but one way is if I can go back, if I were to go back in time and do this again, I'd probably do something like this on a Wednesday. Because then, and then I might have asked Chrissy, like, oh, like, do you think maybe I should ask her like next week or earlier in the week or, something? Because Wednesday is the middle of the day. So if you try to like plan something like,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
on Sunday or Friday or something, you're now doing things sideways. You see what I'm saying? Like you you don't want to just be like, "Oh, do you actually I need to maybe follow my own advice on this with you." Instead of be like, "Do you want to do a call on this day or something?" Like we actually Lada and I had to reschedule our call and we were supposed to see if like if you were free tomorrow and you were like actually I'm free today right now, and so it wasn't like this like direct way of doing things, so doing things kind of sideways that helps. Like, so
Mhm.
it sounds weird, but for a Cancer rising, try to find built-in ways to be almost inefficient, like
And
slow things down.
yes, and it's gentle energy. You don't charge
Yeah,
when you begin new things. You
yeah,
never, you first dip your toe, you take it out. Like crabs, they also have to say one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back. So you kind of edge in, edge back. Like my husband is strong Cancer.
yeah. Oh
Sun
yeah,
is in Cancer in the 10th house. So with career, he would be like, I'll try a little bit of this, go back, try, and then in waves, like the waves, they come in, they pull back, they come in, they pull back. And that's how he's been with anything approaching life. And even when he approaches other people, which is new beginnings, it's always sideways. He never like straight into them, kind of goes quietly to them, waits for them. Maybe they'll notice him, maybe they'll say something as well. So, but they have to initiate because it's a sign of initiation.
yeah,
Don't do it, you're not Aries. Do it like gently, gently in waves.
yeah.
Try back, kind of. These are the rhythms of Cancer of back and forth kind of energy.
It's interesting. My friend's husband, he has his moon and Mercury in Cancer, and he's very like that in communication too. Like he's very like kind of like the way you described your husband. Like he doesn't like start a conversation, he just kind of observes, and stuff. And then all of a sudden he just started getting really chatty and stuff because he saw me talking to his wife. And then he was like, okay, now I'm ready to talk kind of thing. But the hack that I have is because like it's so hard for cancers for like to just be like just chill and just wait, and we're like we don't want to, and blah, 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 and we're just not very compliant. But work with the void of course moon, which happens every couple of days, every few days, where when the moon goes into a new sign, it's kind of like imagine the moon it represents like your home, right? Imagine you move into a new place. You need a little bit of time before you adjust. So now what I do is rather than like trying to force myself, like it's torture to not get started when I'm like dying to, and then I feel like shit because oftentimes cancers want to get started, but then we don't. Like there's this like some like the water is pulling us back almost, and
Mhm.
it frustrates us. So this is why like I don't like a lot of stuff where they're just like be disciplined and do this every day. It's like that's very binary, that's very
No,
masculine. It
no,
doesn't
no, no,
work
no.
for
Cancer
women or
needs
cancers.
rhythms, not like
Exactly.
repetition. Rhythms,
Cycles.
exactly, and it comes naturally back to the cycle. And you need to
Yeah.
listen to how you feel before you start something. You can't just
And
force.
it's especially for Cancer risings because you have highly mentalized chatty Gemini in your 12th house of your subconscious and your unconscious mind. You are just we're just like constantly
That's
thinking,
what undermines you. 12th house is what
yeah,
undermines you.
your psychological downfall. So the thing is, like, especially in this modern world with how demanding things are, we actually need to, like, there's benefit to being bored and doing nothing anyway. So the void of course moon, it's actually built in to just kind of like do nothing. And like I like during void of course moon days to do passive things where like we need a balance of like consuming and producing, right? Receiving and pushing outward, that. And so, void of course moons, I watch movies, I read books, I do something where something is happening to me rather than me happening to someone else.
And
So,
people who don't
these are
know,
things.
void, of course, moon is when moon is in a sign and it's not making any aspects to the traditional planets. It might be a day, might be a few hours, might be sometimes couple of days, rarely, but it is. And which brings me very correctly, they should initiate things, because we're talking about starting new things with the moon cycles. After a new moon is a very good time. Uh,
So
and
a
if
couple
you're
of
a
days after
woman,
the moon
after your period
sextiles.
ends.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's your natural
that's true.
cycle.
Yes. Um, And also cancers are very feeling. So in like it's important for you to feel comfortable on an emotional, psychological, physical, and environmental level. It's important for you to feel at home in your physical body and where you live because even our human vessel is also where we live. So do nourishing things for yourself. Enjoy delicious soups, teas, something with liquids because Cancer rules liquids. And I do want to mention that in tropical zodiac, Jupiter is in Cancer for the first half of this year and stuff. So this is a good time to do liver detox, to work on your health. Jupiter rules our sixth house of our health issues and the best way to manage it and stuff. So like I've been having like all sorts of, not all sorts of, but like I'm just TMI, you guys. I'm not used to being constipated. I act like it's the end of the world. It's terrible. So, like, this is the time to really work on yourself. Maria and I made a video on that, so you can take a look at that. But there's things related to that, but also Jupiter rules the liver, doing liver detoxes. Basically, right now, you want to work with this energy, get clear on what your personal goals are. These are also going to be things that help you.
Oh, they'll, whoever is Cancer, Sun, or Rising, they'll have clarity because Jupiter brings
Yeah.
clarity about their goals now. By July, they should have a lot of clarity.
Yeah. So looking forward to it.
Mhm. And also, talking about Cancer is the sign of familiarity. So instead of charging in like what we were talking, first get yourself familiarized a little bit, retreat, then go ahead again, familiarize yourself a little bit more, then retreat. And this is the cyclical thing till something feels more like home. Then, things will
Yes.
become more and more natural and easier for you to begin those new things.
Yeah. And connect with it more on in your body, in your feelings and stuff psychologically. Make it natural, make it comfortable for you. Different from Cancer. I mean, Taurus, the way we described like using sense and stuff like that and consistency. But with Cancer, doing familiar comforts. Like I used to do like co-working and success sessions with people, and I recommended someone like have like this person that I did work with, she had like a yellow shirt and yellow is a mentally stimulating thing. So we would work together on like our work projects and stuff where we had to do a lot of thinking. So I encouraged her. I was like, you should wear that yellow sweater every single time we work together. So once a week we would meet up and she would wear that sweater. So having something cozy, having something familiar, maybe like a signature tea or something like that.
During the process of starting something new. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
And
something that gives you sense of security because Cancer just needs
yeah.
like a rock to hide under. Okay.
What I
Especially
have
when they're
some.
pushed into new things. So they're pushing themselves.
Yeah.
They need to have like a safe haven to run back to and and hide. And I even observed Cancer babies, they hide under pillows to sleep. They like to be hidden. My
How
name is Cancer baby, and he just always likes to be kind of when he sleeps. So
I
the,
think
the
maybe
need
I
to
need to
to have this safety net when you're starting new things, to know that even though you're entering new territories, which is often very scary, you have this rock to go under. It's
yeah.
heaven.
And I always gravitate towards as a Cancer myself. I'm like, I want something cozy to
Fine.
wrap myself in. I want a nice tea. And if any of you guys, like, for example, also, this also applies to Leo risings as well. If you also have like period issues, you're trying to manifest something, like you're trying to materialize your dreams, Cancer rules liquids. So this also rules blood. Leo rules blood for different reasons. Scorpio. So if you're having like period issues or whether you are or you aren't, like, also like your sacral chakra is about materializing your dreams anyways. Hibiscus tea is something that helps with period pains, but it works particularly well for Leos. But that's also why it works well for Cancers, because Cancers, we have Leo in our second house of things that support us, such as our foods. So you can do it either if you're having like period issues, which you might have if you're having a hard time or you're not materializing the dreams that you have. Like I used to have a lot of period issues and stuff until I lived the life I was meant to, because I wasn't giving birth to my dreams. And so my reproductive organs, my sacral chakra, it was out of alignment.
Mm,
So, but it doesn't mean that you have to be out of alignment, but because you're trying to do something that you desire, something that you want to do, having that tea can help you as you connect to your sacral chakra.
mhm.
So now with Leo risings, you're a fire sign, which is a physically active sign, and it rules the spine. So I do recommend doing something where you're stretching your spine, doing things in the daytime, being out in the sun. Solar exposure is really good, and doing things that in a way that inspires you. You can use creativity. Actual body movement is really good. So dancing, also children, and there's something called the breath of joy. And for those of you who've booked a consultation with me, you're already familiar with this. I always start the beginning of my consultations where I provide you with the environment that's optimal for you to best learn and digest the information that I'm sharing. And so one of the things that I do for people who have like Leo risings or different things in their chart is called the breath of joy, where you're basically like, this is really hard to do, but like your arms are moving up like this and then sideways and then going up. And every time you do this, you're inhaling. So it's like inhale, and then you bring your body all the way down and you exhale. But you normally do this as you're like standing and stuff. So when you're like doing that and you're like, it's literally called the breath of joy, right?
Leo is the
So
sign of joy.
exactly. Leo's the sign of joy, and the breath is Gemini, which is in the 11th house. So it's already sextiling your ascendant and stuff. So it's something that is really good. And that movement itself, it's first of all, working with our arms like that, it's stimulating our mind. And also, we're bending forward, which is also working with our spine as well. So these are things that you can do to kind of get you started. And this one is a little bit different, but also like pets can help you too. They
Ah,
can regulate your nervous
Virgo
system
is
and
the
stuff.
second.
Yes, that too. But so what's interesting is that Maria and I believe that, and I think this is more like a modernized version of astrology. Like Maria gets really worked up about this, and she's like, "It's so stupid that people think that pets are the sixth house. Sixth house is a burden. Pets aren't fucking burdens." Meanwhile, she's doing like a million different things for her dogs, to her dog, like And I'm just thinking like everyone else would think how you take care of your dog is a burden. She gives her daily massages and cooks food. I'm like, that seems like a lot of burden. But like pets give us pleasure. And in ancient times when astrology was created, pets didn't exist as a way to provide us with companionship. So Maria, like, and I believe that pets are ruled by the fifth house, because it brings us pleasure. And for me, when I was in my annual perfection of my fifth house, that's when my business
They're
as
like
a
children. For many people, their pets are like their
exactly.
children. So
Yeah,
it's kind of ancient astrology considered the sixth house animals because like chicken, cats,
responsibility,
because they would help you with the housework. But
cattle.
yeah,
Yeah.
the cattle, the big ones are the 12th house.
Yeah, the
Uh,
bigger than like a horse or something.
like
Yeah, it's like
like a goat, bigger than a goat. But
oh yeah, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, but it's nowadays it can be fifth house truly because unless you know, usually it's because they're like your child.
Yeah. And when I was in my annual perfection of my fifth house, I became a pet sitter and I became really popular and my pet sitting clients ended up because I was house and pet sitting and they became my astrology students and clients. And it was
Oh, wow.
actually a remedy that I created because my moon has a challenging aspect to Venus, but Mercury helps me And so I was like, I need to find a way to make this work. And I was like, so that's kind of what I did. And there's things in my chart that show that. But this is where I do think that pets can very much help Leo risings, especially really active ones, that get you like excited and stuff like that. The other thing is, I would say that because you're ruled by the sun, use where the sun sign is during like every time the sun moves into a new sign, use that as a source of inspiration to get started.
Okay.
So, like for right now, like, the sun is in Aries in your ninth house. So, what can help you to get started are inspiring astrology teachings. So, like, Lada, for example, is an Aries, so that's very like literal, it can be, and something you can do is you can create a playlist, and anyone can do this really. Um, but like create a playlist of videos that Lada has done that's helped you, but specifically things that are inspiring, things that help you expand, maybe things related to astrocartography, maybe more some of your more philosophical videos, something like that that can help you. This could be also working with like coaches. These are things that can help you. Um, I'm not a Leo. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not a Leo, but I'm not an Aries, but either. But I have Aries in
Teachers,
my
any kind
10th
of
house.
teachers, yeah. So,
Exactly.
or in May, when May comes and the season of Taurus for Leo rising people, they can focus on career to start things
Yeah.
because the sun, the planet will be there. Then June, they can focus on their social life, long-term goals when it moves to Gemini in the 11th house. So just, yeah, so they know how to orient themselves.
Exactly. So that's just one of those things where you can really work with that energy. Another thing, and oh, I don't have it with me, but I'm house and pet sitting right now, and the person that I'm sitting with, like, she has like this like portable fan, and it's like it has a lot of glitter, kind of like this pen, right? And I was looking at it, and it made me think of having a mic and making it really sparkly, and it made me think of Leo risings. And so then I thought, like, something that you can do is you can literally get a mic or something and make it really sparkly, have some rhinestones, and like use it like you're on stage and act out a role. Wear your best outfit and stuff. Like these are things that you can do to really work with your energy
Thank you.
because
Thank you so much for the Oscar. I'm so grateful. I can imagine. Just-
for Lana's Moon and Leo's coming out, she secretly wants an Oscar out of everything you could have said.
No, I want the YouTube gold button.
Okay, there you go. See, now you have
Thank you so
something.
much. Thank you. Where is my gold microphone?
But yeah, this is something that you can do. And I would say that a Leo's superpower is your fifth and your 10th house. Because your fifth house, where you have Sagittarius, both Sagittariuses and Leos, you're really generous, optimistic, joyful, and stuff. And it's about putting yourself in the spotlight. And so you can get started by doing fun Sagittarian things, putting yourself in the spotlight, traveling, different stuff like that. It can be um, looking for spiritual guidance, going on adventures, um, joining a coaching program, studying something that you enjoy, things of that nature. And then with your 10th house, you have Taurus here. And it might seem a little weird to use the 10th house because it does square things, but it's like you can work with your Taurus in that you can use things where it's about like managing your resources. You can look to like your history, thinking about like your success, posting photos of delicious food, like these sorts of things that are very aesthetic and pretty, like because the 10th house is about your success and your public image. So think about what that looks like for you and kind of curate it in that very like Taurus sort of a way. if that makes
They should
sense.
create a rich image for the audience, for the public. That's
Yes.
but yeah, that definitely great advice. And the gold, when Leo's are starting something new, have gold around or
Oh
carry
yeah,
gold.
personal
Have gold
goals for the
earrings.
Sagittarius. Yeah.
Yeah, or just like Leo rules gold when you and because it
Yeah.
rules your first house, like wear gold jewelries of some sort to
Yeah.
to be motivated to start new things.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to mention with for Gemini risings because I was thinking about what it means to have Uranus in Gemini and stuff like that. And I've been like obsessing with like saving a bunch of stuff on Pinterest on like different like manicures and stuff. And I'm not someone, I don't care about getting my nails done. But the person that I'm sitting for, she gets her nails done for free because she got like this one nail salon really popular and stuff. And so she was saying like, "Oh, you should think about getting custom made press-on nails because my nail beds are so thin. So it's difficult for me to find things my size. And so what I want to do is I want to get different press-on nails and stuff. And then I want to have different ones for different days of the week. And I want to have like when I'm trying to regulate, because something I notice is that for me, whenever I try to start something new, my nervous system freaks out. So I want to color code different things. So like I have Aries in my 10th house. Aries is red, right? So I want to have like red nails and stuff to regulate my nervous system and stuff, and do my breathing exercises and, different things like that. But I just wanted to, you were talking about like jewelry. So that's something that I thought I'm
Yeah,
excited about
characterizing
this.
they should wear a silver. Silver when
Yes.
they're starting new things because it activates their new beginnings energy.
Hmm.
Leo's gold for sure.
Yeah.
Blonde, Leos, if you wanna be more brave to initiate new things, bring some light and color into your
Yeah.
wardrobe and
So for Virgo risings, this is where I've talked about this in the past, and I talk about this in the Virgo class. One of the things that really bothers me about how Virgos are portrayed, or specifically Virgo risings, is that Virgos are described in a way that's like functional for everyone else. Like, oh, you're here to be of service, you're here to help others. And yes, you are. But also, like, when Virgos are told, like, oh, you're here to help people, you're a person too, and with Virgo risings it's like you have the sign that's supposed to be in service in your own sign in your ascendant about you, so you need to learn to be in service of yourself.
yourself.
And oftentimes Virgo risings are so good at helping other people, but not necessarily like when you're stuck, you might not know how to get started. And in the last video that we did, there was a Virgo rising who was like, oh my God, that's me. I can help everyone. But when it comes to myself, I have a hard time. I don't know how to get started. Right. And so one of the things I would say is that you're ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules writing and stuff. And your second sign, which is about things that support you, you have Libra here, right? So you can work with this sort of energy of Libra as a set of two. Write things down and think about like when so there's a couple different ways I recommend this. Like for every problem that you have, try to come up with two solutions. Or the other thing could be like, because Libra is a set of two, like imagine having a journal open, right? And you have both pages open, writing down like a list of different ways that you've helped people. Because a lot of times Virgo risings don't know how to help yourselves, but you know how to help other people.
Mhm.
So use that energy of Virgo and Libra of categorize, organize, color, coordinate things, and write a list of the different, almost like create like an encyclopedia or an inventory of all the ways that you've helped people. Because with Virgos, what's going to help you to get started is to be practical and to do things that make sense, to want to make improvement. These are going to be things that really help you. And so you can, like, as a Virgo rising, you've helped so many people. Maybe write a list of like you've helped people with health, like like the people you've helped with like their health, their job, their relationships, right? Write down who they are, what you helped them with, why it worked, what did you recommend, why did it work, how did this happen? And then look at it because Virgos are eternal students and try to look for inspiration, find yourself in that. And that's one of the things that can really help you to sort of get started, kind of create your support system. And if you don't know, if you're feeling stuck, basically. But what's going to help you to get started is different from Aries when I mentioned like find a challenge, and find something to fight for. And that's a very physical sort of a way. With
Find
Virgo,
something to fix.
exactly. It's like Virgo is mental in that sense, they're both forms of solving, basically. So with Virgo, it's like
You
if you
just
want to
don't
get
try
more,
to do it in
fine.
relationships, please. You attract all
Oh
the crazes then.
yeah.
If you're going
Oh
to
my God.
someone to
That's a
fix.
whole other, yeah. Because like there's a difference between like criticizing and like making improvements, And you're right when you mentioned like don't do it in relationships. Like when I was younger, I only knew like the problematic Virgos. So I used to be like, why is Virgo a mutable sign? They're just stuck in a loop. All they do is complain. They seem like such a big sign because those are the people who are on that spectrum of criticizing, and that keeps you in a loop. So for you, what's going to help you get started is rather than complaining, what is the solution? How can I correct it? Find something to fix. And part of finding something to fix is it has to actually be like fixed. Like you want to be in a compliant situation. That's why when a lot of us like don't do this in relationships, it's like being in a relationship and being like, this is a problem. I need to fix you. That's not going to work well. You're going to
Or
hit a
like attracting alcoholics, the seventh house gem of Pisces, and yeah, they're always trying to improve the other person, and it's hard. Like, and they have a bit of that
yeah.
karma. A few Virgo rising, I know, they'll even if they go to be with a very successful person, sooner or later this person starts acting like a victim. Seriously, they start acting like Pisces, like the seven.
Yeah. So in Sidereal, Saturn is in Pisces and it is opposing you.
No,
So
no, not Virgos. It's not opposing them anymore.
in Sidereal?
Yeah, but let's not confuse people. We're doing
Okay, okay.
so that
Okay.
confuse people. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
They had Saturn for 2 years, so hopefully they straightened their relations
Yeah.
as Pisces, as Virgo rising.
Yeah, I actually had a client message me and she was like, I've just been feeling really uninspired and unmotivated lately. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like with Saturn there, like opposing that makes sense. But yeah, so we won't talk about that. So okay, that saves me a lot. That saves us a
They
lot of time.
finished it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it's easier now to start things, uh
Mhm.
and Uranus will be squaring them. So yeah, whether they want to know. And Jupiter will come in their sign in the first house from 2027. From the middle of 2027 to the middle of 2028, it will be much easier for them to begin new beginnings. But now, yeah, it's sorry. Yeah, but definitely Virgos can, mm, when they approach something new, it's like, how can I improve it? How can I make it more efficient? And also, if they feel, if they need to get motivated, of course, they need to kind of organize themselves a bit with different discipline, with different routines. It's very important for them to be in some healthy
Be
routine.
healthy.
Yeah, and even do
Yeah.
some cleansing before that.
Hmm.
Because that will give you the energy, because the first house is the beginnings, the physical body, and Virgo, it's usually the intestines. So you need to kind of purge a little bit the intestines so you're not,
Yeah.
and you
That's
feel this energy of
actually
lightness, and when you feel lightness, you can begin new things easier. So
Yeah, that's actually
hopefully,
in my notes. For one of the other signs, I already mentioned this, but Maria and I made a video on digestion and like cleansing your body and stuff like that. So that's a video that you could check out and you could follow those protocols. All of us regardless of the sign that you have in your ascendant, it rules your physical body. But with Virgos, you have more of a sensitivity because you're ruled by the sign that rules your physical health. And in your sixth house of your health, you have Aquarius where Pluto is. So these are toxins that can show up, which are affecting your nervous system. And then Mercury not only rules Virgo, but it rules Gemini, the other sign that rules your nervous system in your 10th house squaring you where Uranus is going to show up. So one of the things that's also really going to help you just in general, but especially now more than ever, is giving yourself nervous system support, doing somatic therapy. These are going to be things that really do support you in order to get things started.
Yeah. So yeah, have a good routine. Make sure that you're living healthy. Once you start, my ex-husband was Virgo rising, and he said he was very messy and disorganized all his life. And suddenly he wakes up one day and he's trying to find a job. He's that when this happens, and he says he's trying to start a new beginning. He's been trying for months and months, and suddenly something tells him, like epiphany, get yourself clean and organized. So overnight, he becomes super organized. His environment cleans it, makes it nice, and he finds a new job. He finds a
Yeah.
because new beginning, Virgo, new, first house. Within, he says, within a couple of weeks of organizing himself, so after a year of looking for jobs, he couldn't start. You know, just make everything around you more organized, more simple and efficient,
Yeah.
and then and then also it will be easier for you to start new beginnings or for it not to be messy around you. It will give you the stimulation to start new beginnings.
Yeah. I mean, with any of the sign, you want to work with the energy of that sign. Every placement manifests in four different ways: emotionally, psychologically, physically, and spiritually. So you can take any of those things and work with that energy, and then that's going to activate it with any sign, any planet. And so that's something that can very much support you.
Yes. Yes. So the emotional would be what Jamie was talking about, seeing how many people you've supported and serviced, and that will give you the feeling of, okay, I can do this, or I deserve now to serve myself, and here
Yeah.
I go, I begin. So that's the emotional side. And also probably is to like list pros and cons, like you said, Virgos
Yeah.
like that, pros and cons of this new beginning. They need to have clear kind of like a plan before they start something new.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. And put it into your daily routine because that's what Virgo rules. That's also going to help you. And essentially, I lost my train of thought. It's contagious. I don't think it was that important. I feel like we've covered,
Recording during Mercury in Pisces. I mean,
I mean,
mine has
yeah.
been very confused, even though it's not retrograde anymore. It's like finding my phone in the fridge.
Oh my God.
So yeah, forgive us. And it's a long video. It's a long video. It's exhausting. So
But we'll have timestamps, you guys. Um, So with Libra risings, the best way for you to get started is to give yourself emotional, mental, and physical harmony and clarity because Libra is an air sign. But it's ruled by Venus, which is an emotional planet. So you got to have that emotional, that mental stuff, and then it's on your ascendant, which is about your physical body. So one of the things, yay, you're back. I was like, no, come back.
I need to charge my laptop, but because it's an
Oh,
awkward angle, I'm just switching off the video. But I'll
okay.
talk. But I'll talk because I don't want
Okay.
people to be looking under my chin.
So for Libra risings, you can wear what like do things that help you, like I said, give you emotional, mental, physical harmony. You can wear balanced clothes and stuff. I do this a lot where I always look at the second house because it supports your ascendant, and you have Scorpio here, which rules sorcery. So, and it's about transformation. So, dress and play the role of who you want to be and bring that to life and use your resources So these are money, clothes, the food you eat as a way to embody the version of you that gets the shit that you want through balanced aesthetics. You can either also talk to yourself or someone else one on one in order to get emotional clarity. Because one of the things that can stall you from getting started for Libra risings, especially, is confusion and indecision. And so, a really good remedy for that is for Libras, you're ruled by a set of two. So, pick two things and use psychological motivation because you have Scorpio in your second house as a way to get started, essentially. And these are things that can very much help you. Now, you also have being Venus ruled on your ascendant. Venus also rules your eighth house of traumas with Taurus. So I do recommend if you haven't already, or you can rewatch the video that I did on trauma healing for each rising sign, you can incorporate some of those things as well. And since Libra is Venus ruled and Venus and the moon are friends, you can look to Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, in your 10th house of success. And you can wear silver, for example, right? I kind of had this like very roundabout epiphany when I thought about this. It made me think of metal. And then I realized or I remember Libra is the only archetype that's represented by an inanimate object, which is represented by a scale, which is often represented by metal. So that's why I was like, oh, you should wear silver. But it's also the 10th house, which is where Cancer is. It rules success. And success is related to Saturn. And Saturn is exalted in Libra. So even if you don't have Libra, even if you don't have Saturn here, you can use sort of that energy. And Saturn rules your fourth house and your fifth house. So some of the things that you can do to help you to get started is to do the things that make you feel emotionally safe, have that sense of stability. Because the more stable you are, the more comfortable and the more empowered you're going to feel to get started on things. And you can also have metal around your home or just have different reminders in your home that can kind of help you to give you some sort of like clarity in order to essentially kind of move forward. But Saturn also rules your fifth house. So other things you can do to get started is to do something fun. This might be, you have Aquarius here, so this might be like a fun dance class that you take with friends or an online community or doing something to that effect where you're putting yourself out there. You're an air sign, so you want to use your social connections. This could also be through like something I used to do was I used to go to like my local community college and use their library. It's something like that. Like you might maybe find like a funky eclectic coffee shop where you hang out with friends and you collaborate. There's different things that you can do in order to essentially work with the energy.
I would say for Libra rising, having one at home is like find someone to push you
Yeah,
to start new things.
that's true.
Like a motivator, a partner, or to kind of not necessarily aggressively push you, because Aries, new beginnings, is in your seventh house of other people. It can be a partner or someone who kind of like, come on, you can do it, go, go, or to share the idea with, and you hear back response from others, because that's the Libra energy. Share and see uh, and see if that's, because for Libra it's very important to receive the support of others when they start something new, rather than to go against the whole and everyone and the whole society just to do what they want.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that because I was just thinking about it and I'm going to throw Maria under the bus a little bit. So, Maria's an Aries rising, But sometimes when like she was like indecisive and stuff, and I'm like, you need to write a book and you need to do this and da da da. And she was being like indecisive and uncertain. I guess she was technically operating out of like her Libra, and I was acting kind of like an Aries. And I was the one that was kind of like pushing her. So yeah, honestly, that works pretty well. Like, but you need to find someone who does it in a way that like helps you, obviously. But that's definitely a good method for sure.
Who believes in
Especially,
you and encourages you. That's kind of the feedback
yeah,
you receive from another is very important for Libra.
yeah, because your seventh house are qualities that you're meant to embody. So you have Aries, it's about that self-initiating energy that you need to embody. So it's not even just finding other people that push you, but that push you in a way where it's like, if you were to push yourself, how would that look like? And have someone who embodies those qualities, basically, like an externalized version of what you need, essentially. For Scorpio risings, what's going to help you to get started is going to be really Mars in nature. And because Mars rules Scorpio, and Mars also rules your sixth house of your daily habits and your routines. And you have physically active Aries here. So even though the first and sixth house, like there isn't an aspect, for Scorpio risings, these two houses are intrinsically connected. And Scorpio risings that are physically active and work a lot tend to do really well. And particularly with Saturn and Neptune in Aries right now, and this is good for everyone, but exercising, um, doing something where you are strengthening your physical body and stuff like that, that helps you develop discipline in a way that gives you a deeper meaning is something that can really help you. And so if you happen to have like a home office or a gym or some place that you can go to be physically active, this can really help you. If you like basically like some sort of a work environment, office environment can really help you to get started. And so if you happen to have an opportunity, like maybe having like a sit stand desk or something where you're like standing or you're in action. Some people have like those like a treadmill in front of their office table, or you can sit like I don't know what it's called, but it's like you're sitting down and on the bottom it's like the bicycle pedals are there.
Uh-huh.
So you can be physically active. And this is also stimulating your mind as well. And these are things that really help because in martial arts, they talk about the importance of having a strong mind and a strong body. And it's important. They say that, like, it's great to have a strong mind, but if your body is weak, you're constantly thinking, 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 and they're not physically taking the action. If you have a strong body and you don't have a strong mind, your body, you're just doing things, but you're not necessarily doing it in a way that logically makes sense. So there's like this balance that's really important. And Scorpio, I believe, out of all of the zodiac sign, has the most access to all of the elements because it's ruled by fiery Mars, but it's strategic like an air sign. It's a water sign, and it doesn't have Earth, but it magnetizes resources from others. And so there's very much this balance. So I feel like working with all of those elements, being logical with your mind, being strong physically, working with these things is so important. And your strategic power move is to psychologically analyze and do things that are motivating for you. But something else that can help you is to think about where can you leverage support from others? Because as a Scorpio rising, you're here to magnetize support from others. Think about before you get started, is there something or someone that can support me? Also, what is your emotional drive? You want to basically think about each of the elements that I just mentioned. So it's like the fire is taking action. The water sign aspect is what is your emotional drive?
Mm.
The air sign aspect of it is being strategic. The earth sign aspect is accessing support from others. because earth signs are about like specifically Taurus, the opposite sign is about like resource or your resources. So it's like what resources do you have available that's going to help you to get started?
And another thing I'll add for Scorpio, sorry to interrupt, it's
No,
be afraid of crisis because they activate you to start new things. It's truly when there is crisis, some shock, some turn, some radical turn of event, unexpected, which is kind of what Scorpio energy is. This is what motivates you for new beginnings, even if there is some scare. So if things are very peaceful and easy, it won't happen. But if there is some kind of twist, that activates you for new beginnings.
absolutely. Especially since you have Gemini in your eighth house. Has like excitability, is curious in the eighth house of traumas. So, and crisis. So these things can literally motivate you. It can generate ideas, brainstorms, inspiration. Since the eighth house is connected to Scorpios, I do recommend that you check out my video on like the best way for you to process your traumas because these energies are essentially intrinsically connected. And regulating your nervous system, because this is where Uranus is going to be next month in your eighth house of your traumas in the sign of your nervous system. So these are also going to be things that help you as well in order to get started it's going to be easier for you to have access to your traumas basically and to like you're basically Uranus is going to just kind of intensify things and there's it can be a lot but all of this activity means that it's not stagnant so you can sort of move through it essentially. I would also say no, actually, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. And with Sagittarius risings, what's going to help you to get started depends on what type of Sagittarius you are, because Sagittariuses are ruled by centaurs, which are half human, half horse. So there's two sides to you. So it's important to know, like, are you um operating more out of the human side, which is the philosophical version of Sagittarius that's interested in higher education, higher ideals, spirituality, and stuff? Or are you more connected to the side of Sagittarius, which is the bottom part of the body, which is the horse, where it's more primal, animalistic in nature?
Sports, adventures, daredevil.
Exactly. So for the first 15 degrees, like if that's your ascendant, you're more human influenced. And for the remaining degrees, you're more animalistic instinct. So this can help you. If you're more influenced by your human influences, what's going to help you is looking at higher ideals, spirituality. So you can look to your ninth house for that where you have Leo. So this can be working with astrologers or coaches that are Leo in nature. Lada has her moon in Leo, for example. I'm not a Leo, but I do have my sun in my ninth house, exclusively planetary aspects and stuff. And like Lada mentioned, in one of the other signs we did, just anyone who's a teacher can very much help you but there are certain people who might inspire you a little bit more. And so you can look to these people in order to get started. This could also be joining like a coaching program. If you're more horse influenced, like Lada mentioned, this is about adventures, traveling.
Sports,
This is similar
sports,
to
sports.
sports, yeah, like archery, horseback riding. Um, those are very Sagittarius things, but like it can be other types, some sort of like adventure, something that's physically active, kind of similar to Aries, where like you want to do something active essentially. These are going to be things that can essentially help you. And also getting clear on what your personal goals are. This is going to be something that helps you to get started as well in order to make sure that the way that you're moving, it's going to ultimately benefit you. And since we're talking about fire signs, looking at your fire houses can be beneficial. So in your fifth house, you have Aries, which is about taking action and trusting the process. So doing something that you enjoy, that's fun, and just taking action, getting started and stuff, doing something that you actually enjoy. Even if what you're trying to start is separate from what you enjoy, just working with that energy can stimulate you. And then I already mentioned the ninth house with Leo, personal goals, working with astrologers, coaches, teachers, things of that nature, essentially. And also traveling. But the big thing I would say is for Sagittarius is when you're trying to initiate something, make sure that it's something that excites you and it's not rigid. Because if it makes you feel trapped, you're not going to want to do it. Sagittarius says you need a lot of freedom. I don't know if there's something you want to add or
No, that I think for travel foreign countries, but I think you mentioned that. That
yes.
get the inspiration for new beginnings, to
Yes.
read from teachers, and yeah, that's it.
For Capricorn risings, what's going to help you to get started is to be strategic, but it's not just about what you do and how you do it, but it's who you are that really matters. And this is important because you're ruled by Saturn, and Saturn either punishes or rewards. So it's important for you, like I was mentioning when I was talking about Aries, that when I teach astrology to my students, I refer to Aries as like the fuck around, find out sign. And where you have Saturn or Capricorn, this is the area where I say this is where you don't fuck around, where you don't find out. It's important that you live your life honestly. I mean, everybody should do this, but Capricorns, especially when you don't do this, it starts to have negative consequences and it's very disruptive to the quality of your life. It's important that you live your life honestly, ethically, responsibly, correctly, strategically, systematically, because these things determine whether Saturn punishes you, blocks you, delays you, or supports you and materializes security and success for you. And so dishonest Capricorns tend to have a harder life, but it's not just about like doing things strategically in a way that makes sense. Like you also want to just be the type of person that is really honoring Saturn because that's going to affect the flow of how you're able to move about in your life. And you also want to initiate in a way that makes sense and is security oriented. And the thing is, Capricorns are original hustlers, but the most evolved Capricorns work smarter, not harder. And so you want to be strategic from that standpoint. And if you're overworking yourself, or even if you're not, just think about how can I make this more efficient? How can I make this more effective? These are going to be, the more you master that, the easier it's going to be for you to get started on things. Sometimes, even though Capricorn's a cardinal sign, it's ruled by Saturn. So there's like, things take a little bit longer.
Hmm.
And but when you do things correctly, things just kind of move in a way that's just smoother and easier and stuff. And what can help is to create systems, but also look at what's worked for you in the past because Capricorn's a karmic sign. And Saturn's about the past. So, you're ruled by the sign that rules success. So think about where have you been successful before? What worked, what didn't? Implement these things and understand for yourself what security and stability means for you and make sure that you do that. Because if you're trying to do things and you're not having that security, that can really stall and paralyze a Capricorn.
Yeah. Out that they are slow starters early in life,
Yeah.
like to 30, 40. Don't get frustrated. They usually late bloomers because Capricorn blossoms, especially better after 40. They come into their power. They age more gracefully than others, but the first 30 to 40 years of their life, it might be harder. And it might be harder to even have more free will then because, and to start new things you want because Saturn is the karma from the past and Capricorn, I mean. So they might be kind of like bearing off the fruits from ancestors or from the conditions that they were born into first or previous past lifetimes, if you believe in that. And then after 30, 40 onwards, they can have more ability to start new beginnings and they'll come into their strength more, into their wisdom and more experience. So they should have, like Jaymie said, things that they experience with will help them start new beginnings. And the wiser they are, the older it's easier to them to start new beginnings or to get advice from older and experienced people as well. That helps.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they can even like start easier when they have a bit more austere conditions around them, because Capricorn is this more austere sign. And one advice I can give is for them, if they really want to achieve something or start something, to deny themselves one thing, because Capricorn is about denying yourself immediate gratification. So say, okay, I'm going to deny myself sugar, or it might be something, so I can start this new business, or I can, so I can initiate this new workout routine, or something new that you want to start. Kind of, for some, it might be coffee. For others, just deny yourself something that will give you the push during those
Discipline.
things. Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
more like Capricorns train themselves to, when they want something, maybe if they're hungry, to push it off a little bit, to stay with this kind of this is building discipline basically. The easier it will be for them to start new beginnings. So this denial of immediate gratification is a great boon for them, which they naturally know how to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, and also remove clutter. Capricorn is a clean sign.
It's
It
also like very minimalist.
exactly.
That's, yeah,
Minimalist environment can be very good for them to
yeah,
initiate new things. So,
definitely. And for those of you, like, Lada was mentioning, like, in the earlier years, it may be difficult because Capricorn rules older people and success, but in later age. But with that said, something that I've noticed is that, especially like in this modern world, there's a lot of Gen Zs that have become successful, but I've observed what they've been doing. Like, and one of my friends, his moon is in Capricorn, and he's like he was relatively successful at an early age, but also for his high school project, he started a nonprofit as his assignment, and it's still going on. And he has a Gemini stellium, and so he created a nonprofit specifically for children because he noticed that the educational system was closing up like funding, and the first thing that they were cutting out was music and creativity. And he was talking about the importance of
right.
creativity, how it helps your mind, how it actually it works with academic performance and emotional well-being, which also affects your ability to study and be academically successful and all of these different things. And so basically what he did was create a sense of security and provided practical support in a very strategic way, and he's a lot more successful. So I don't want you to feel like if you're a young Capricorn you're like, oh, I
Oh,
have
yeah.
to wait 30 years,
No,
so it's
no,
like, think
absolutely
about
not.
like,
They're
you
very,
know
at least they're very responsible people generally. And
Exactly. Yeah. You want to be responsible, you want to be ethical. When you're younger, like Lada said, you're more influenced by your karmic life and stuff. So you can like you in your third house, you have Pisces, you can learn and study spirituality. You can use prayer, do things to kind of understand and study about like karmic ancestral lineage, like because you can look at like your patterns of your life and be like, okay, like as a Capricorn, you're ruled by Saturn. If you're trying to start something, if you're constantly experiencing blocks, what are those blocks? What are they centered around? Is it authority figures? Okay, what is your relationship with your father? Are you having a hard time in communication? Okay, what environment did you have growing up? Communication, things like that. Like you can study things of the past in order to make things kind of flow a little bit more.
Oh, definitely. When you mentioned the father, because Capricorn is about very much about authority figures, fathers, if they want things to start easier for them, uh, they should, yeah, kind of work on that relationship, even if they've had a very
Father
difficult
wounds.
father. Definitely.
Yeah,
That's so
definitely.
Capricorn big. And yes, they don't have to rush into starting things. It's kind of,
No.
they need to be well prepared. That's like you said,
Yeah.
'cause that's Capricorn. Like
So
have a plan. You don't need to know every detail of it 5, 10 years from now. It's kind of, you'd feel better to start new things when you're more prepared and more experienced.
exactly. And in your ninth house, you do have Virgo. So you can try like the SMART goals, for example. Like as a water dominant sign, I hate the SMART goal system. It's like the way that I'll fail. And I'm like, I could just fail by doing nothing. But for Capricorns, I also have Capricorn on my descendant. So that's like horrible for me. But it's something that works really well for Capricorns. And that's the beauty of astrology is that like what works, like this is about what's going to work for you.
Yeah, it's like,
Obviously, this is a generalized video, so it's not going to apply to everyone, but you get the idea.
again, if you'd like this personal reading from Jamie, which is specifically on your special chart, what is the ultimate environment? What is the best setting and like a schedule how to initiate new things into your life? This reading is only available till April the 20th. Just mentioning it again.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this because this focuses on how to start new things during Aries season, but it's also something that I've done because I feel like these are things that sometimes astrologers that focus on remedies do, but for me, not being like not having strong earth in my chart, a lot of them they tend to give recommendations that don't really work for me. It's like very earthy, it's like wear this jewelry or do this thing and I'm like that doesn't really work for me. And so in the consultation that I provide, I'm going to be giving you like the best way for you to learn the type of communication, the best time of day, the environment, who's going to support you, all of these different things, but also depending on your elements, should it be more action oriented? Do you need more social support? Do you need more emotional support? Do you need energetic spiritual inspiration or should it be practical? Like really understanding the dynamic of what works for every individual, I think is so good because sometimes what I've noticed is that astrologers will project like they have a standardized way of kind of doing something. And so they just give like the logical or they just give the earthy or they just give the esoteric. And it's like it really does depend on what every each individual client needs. Wait, I can't hear you.
Oh no, I was just saying
Okay.
exactly. It's good that you're neurodivergent, so you can do all the see it from all sides.
Yeah. Speaking of neurodivergence, we're going to be going into Aquarius risings. And so Lada has lots of opinions on this, I hope, and I'm sure. Um, what helps you to get started is going to be social in nature, but also physical because it is on your ascendant. And the things that are really going to help you is regulating, and I say this a lot. I know I'm beating a dead horse. I don't care giving yourself nervous system support. But this is especially good right now because you do have Pluto transiting your ascendant in your physical body. So this is where like somatic therapy and providing yourself a nervous system support as human beings is beneficial for everyone, but this is going to be the most powerful and effective for Aquarius risings. This is where you can experience the most transformation in this area of your life by transforming your physical body, doing things that provide your nervous system with support, providing your mind with things. The other thing is when Uranus goes into Gemini, I'm gonna say this with a disclaimer because it does depend on like your Uranus and whether you have good aspects and stuff. But something could be like that you can do is also like doing like biofeedback. Something using some sort of electrical device in order to help you to get started. And also surrounding yourself with friends that support your nervous system rather than dysregulating you. Like this is a big thing because Aquarius is an air sign. And so sometimes like Aquarius people can be like all over the place, very airy, kind of absent-minded and stuff. And Aquarius rules friends. And so it's important that you're surrounding yourself with people that stabilize your nervous system. Otherwise, Pluto is going to come and there might be some like death in friendships, or there might be things that kind of like get amplified in your physical body. So these are things that you just kind of want to keep an eye out for. But just being very mindful about your social environment, tune into how it makes your body feel. These are going to be things that you're going to be more sensitized to lately. And surround yourself with friends. Because Aquarius rules friends, you can also look at your 11th house where you have Jupiter ruled Sagittarius here. And your 11th house also sextiles your ascendant. So it can help you to get started are friends that are generous, optimistic, goal-oriented, worldly, have a growth mindset, and are inspiring. Because fire signs are also social creatures as well, just like Aquarius, like air signs are. So these are people that can help you. And also, like
And it's not
Sagittarius is,
always friends, the 11th house in Aquarius, it's
yeah,
many factors. I always
yeah,
look for my business to start, always people, friends, or people even I don't know, but we talk online, or
mhm.
I go to groups and I read stuff to motivate myself.
Online
I even
communities.
share it sometimes on my social media and say, what should I do this? It's new project, and I see what the reactions of people are. That's like hearing others that this is Aquarian, energy, and seeing what society needs right now.
Mhm.
What you started. But also Aquarius is, yes, you should listen to others, and truly they kind of have their pulse on the needs of society. But it's also about doing their, after all, Aquarius is to be independent, not to be so dependent always on the opinion of others. So not to be afraid
Yeah,
to go against the norm. And if it's some crazy idea, I usually start, you can go for crazy ideas if you're Aquarius.
yeah. I'm glad you mentioned benefactors because, like, when I look at like money and stuff, like, one of the things that I feel like is underused in astrology is how the 11th house relates to benefactors and grant funders and stuff like that. And I have clients where I look at their chart and I'm like, oh, like some of the best ways for you to make money is through grant fundings, benefactors, and stuff like that. And I would say that for Aquariuses, since you're ruled by Saturn, which is work related and stuff, and you have Pluto, which is magnetizing resources from others transiting your ascendant, you can experience like transformations, increased wealth through regulating your nervous system. You can find more transformation in your career through benefactors as well. So that can be a way because Aquarius is also about your increased wealth, and you have Pluto. Things are switching. So the way that you make money, if you haven't worked with like benefactors and stuff like that, you can look to see like the condition of your Jupiter. It's something that you can maybe take a look at, and maybe that can help you to get started.
Perfect. Or if you can't do it alone, join a group. Well,
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking, like benefactors is that like a lot of businesses they'll apply for grant fundings and stuff, as a way to kind of get started so that they can hire a team, get started. So you can do it that way. You can join online community coaching programs, the support groups, things of that nature.
and use new technologies to start new things for sure.
Yes. Tuning forks, frequencies, solfeggio frequencies, these are things that can help you as well.
Oh, that's what I do every day when I work, or I just put on solfeggio frequencies on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah.
And I also use Spooky device. They have a handheld aha device now. I put it, just frequencies really affect me for good.
Is is
So
Spooky easy to use? Because I got overwhelmed by the instruction manual.
I use the new device, which is handheld, and it has a lot more. It's kind of much easier. than the old ones they used to do. Like they,
Oh, so the newer version of
yes,
Spooky?
it's kind of like a handheld. You can carry it everywhere. It doesn't need laptops and programs and stuff like that. So it's called
They,
AHA. So that's the one now I
what is it called?
AHA. Like
Aha.
AHA.
AHA?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They
Because
they
my
sent me
Mercury
one, and I was
sextiles
like,
Uranus.
finally, because I hate those complicated programs. Once you figure it out, it's very easy, but I just can't have the patience to go through that.
You see, your Aries doesn't want to do it. My water sign doesn't want to do it, and my lack of Earth. I'm like, fuck that.
Earth would do it like patiently. My
Yeah.
husband deals with that, but I'm like, give me the handheld. It's already with all the frequencies programmed.
Same. I don't have a husband, so I need the handheld one. My husband's gonna be earthy in my chart. So, but but yeah, these are gonna be things that could support you for sure. And lastly, Pisces risings, what's going to help you to get started is using creativity, prayer, finding the deeper spiritual meaning of things, grounding yourself because the Pisces is a little grounded, but it does rule the feet. So getting grounded, barefoot, being barefoot, and sometimes getting grounded is also being in a body of water. It doesn't have to be so literal because I'm a Pisces sun sign, and I feel like, yes, it's important to ground, but something I've noticed is that sometimes people will be like, oh, you have to ground, you have to ground. And yes, you should, but people who've experienced a lot of trauma who don't feel safe sometimes trying to ground can actually feel scary because if your connection to being grounded and connecting to your physical body is traumatic in nature, there can be a panic. And Pisces are ruled by fish, which is in water. So, what helps you ground is to be in your natural element. So, being in a body of water.
Water in the sea is one of the most grounding energy. It has
Yeah.
minerals in it, so it's even more grounding than being on the ground.
Yeah. So it's definitely something that is really good. And I would say swimming because in the second sign of things that support you, you have physically active Aries. And so swimming is something that's really good. And Pisces, so there are certain signs that are like when you depending on like the what you have in your ascendant, it tells you whether you're basically like a lying down position or like a vertical position. And so Pisces are water signs and they're known to be like what like laying down position. So it's like when you're trying to move, it's like that swimming activity, you're like laying down. If you're like an air sign sitting down or like an earth sign sitting down and playing chess or doing something that's like mentally active can help you. So swimming can be something that helps you doing healing things on a spiritual, esoteric level. Reiki, sound bath, something that's spiritually healing, a little bit more esoteric is
And music
something that can help
motivates
you.
them a lot. Pisces
Yes.
connect to music and images as well. Want to start
Imagination.
something, have a symbol that represents it. Symbolism is Piscean in nature, or
You can
a
do sigils.
tune. Sigils, yeah, I've
Yeah.
I've
For
experimented with them, but that's too occult even for me.
It's not too occult for me. I just have so many words that like it doesn't look nice. So for those of you who don't know what sigil is, like there's different ways to do it, but like imagine if like you have the alphabet in like a circle, right? And let's say that you're setting an intention, you're trying to start something, like give me something you want to start. Give me an example, Lada.
Start a band.
Okay. You want to start a band, right? So you write down start a band and then you remove all of the vowels and then you remove any repeated letters. And then what you do is with whatever, so it's like STR, B, all of those, like you connect the different letters together and then it creates a symbol. So it's very esoteric. That's something that Pisces risings can do, or if you have Pisces in your ninth house, that's something that you can do to set goals. Like I've hosted like workshops and stuff where I use art to help my clients and attendees set intentions. And so sigils work really well for something like that when you do well with like esoteric stuff. So it's things like that that you can work with. But you also, the thing is that Pisces is ungrounded, but there's still a benefit to having a certain level of stability. And so in your third house, you have Taurus and it sextiles you. So this is where communicating with people who are consistent, stabilizing, grounding can help you doing consistent mindset work. And something that can help Pisces because Pisces rules helplessness and victims. And so sometimes Pisces can be passive or sort of forget, like you might not feel the most empowered or you might feel stuck in some way. This is where working on your mindset, which is your third house, by remembering your resources, which is Taurus, like, being like, these are the gifts that I have. These are the values that I have to offer. This is what I know. These are things that can really help you, is to have that consistent reminder and that stability and that like presence of awareness so that you don't get kind of like lost in the ethers essentially.
Yeah.
And you
It,
can also do that. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, nothing else. I was wondering. It's very rare to meet people with Pisces rising because it takes only
Yeah.
1 hour to rise, like
Mhm.
compared to Leo, Virgo, the opposite signs, which can be 2, 3 hours. So it is rare, but it's yeah. How do you make the sign of endings start things? If you have like a sun in Pisces and so on. So,
Yeah.
but
I I actually know a lot of Pisces risings, and a surprising, and part of it is also because they're a bunch of them are twins.
oh wow,
I
okay.
went through a phase where I was obsessed with like analyzing twin charts to like get better as an astrologer. So I made my friends attend like those like twin festivals, and I gave a bunch of them assignments on how many twins they had to recruit and get birth charts. So
Oh my,
depending on how social they were, the more social, I'm like, you're getting 20 charts. You're getting 5 charts for me, kind of thing. So it's really interesting. And a lot of them, they really use creativity and
Pisces.
they have a Leo in their sixth house of habit. And so, like a lot of what I've noticed is that Pisces risings do really well when habitually they are in the energy of Leo, doing something where they're working on their confidence, they're doing something creative, they are learning, they're teaching, like developing their confidence. These are things that really helps Pisces risings a lot. And also their friends because kind of having that stabilizing energy, similar to when I was mentioning Taurus. In your 11th house, you have Capricorn. And one of my friends who's a Taurus, or I'm sorry, a Pisces rising, he's also a Taurus sun, so he has a little bit of stability. And he has Capricorn in his 11th house. And one of our mutual friends is Capricorn and also was his boss. So being friends with people who are leaders, who have authority, who are stable, security oriented, and feel safe for you, these are people that can help to kind of stabilize you.
Or I would say even Pisces is one of the signs of travel.
Yeah,
Of it. When you feel when you need energy to be stimulated to do something.
travel, pray, go to a spiritual retreat or something like that. Having that
Or even get a sign.
opportunity.
So you start something, ask for a sign from God, That's that's something.
That we're honestly, and even like when you go to sleep and stuff, or when you wake up first thing in the morning, like think about what's the first thing that comes to you, set intentions as you're falling asleep and stuff. Like these are things that really do help Pisces. My friend, he's like super psychic and his moon is in Cancer and I'm a Cancer rising and he's very like and my sun is in Pisces and he's always like very aware of like my physical body and he'll just hit me up out of the blue and be like, "What are you doing? Take a break, Jaymie. Your knee is you're messing up your knee." And I'm like, "I'm fine. You're so weird." And then I look at my knee in the mirror and like it's like not centered or some crazy thing.
Oh
So
wow.
Pisces are just very tapped in. And so just also like trust where intuition shows up in your physical body.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. So yeah, definitely pray about things. Embody and as you're falling asleep, because Pisces rules sleep, so you want to be really good with your sleep hygiene. You have Aquarius here, so you can listen to frequency, do somatic therapy. As you're going to sleep, think about some stuff that's important for you or beneficial for you to let go of. 12th house is about letting go, things of that nature. If you astral travel, maybe ask to astral travel with your friends or something and work on different things. That's very Delulu, but you're a Pisces rising, so that you can't judge me for that. Unless you have Saturn on your ascendant, then you can be like, that doesn't work for me, Jaymie. Be like, okay, that's fair.
Awesome. Thank you. Wow, you
But
must be
yeah,
so exhausted. We've had some almost 2 hours. Amazing.
oh my God. I know you said that you were free for 2 hours, and I thought to myself, I don't think it's gonna take 2 hours. We got really good about being more efficient, but Mercury retrograde,
I think people would be grateful for all that information. Thank you. That's giving,
of course.
yeah, giving helplessly, not helplessly, unconditionally. Sorry, I was thinking about Pisces again.
Don't listen to her, you guys. I'm very helpful.
Helpless. I just my mind really. That was such a it's a book full of information you gave us here. Thank
Literally,
you.
one of my friends was like, "Why do you keep trying to write a book? Just transcribe your videos." And and you recommended that I ask Chrissy for the videos, and I need to do that.
Definitely, these are helpful.
Yeah, just, yeah, of
Thank you so much, Jamie. Again, if anyone wants to
course.
connect for a personal reading with Jamie, I'm putting a link below. This part, she's offering other readings, but also the specific one is how you're looking at everything in your chart, elements, sun, moon, ascendant, how to initiate, what is the best environment, the best plan for you, very practical steps as well. It's not just, it's on the emotional level, on the physical, on the environment, on the spiritual level. That's a 60-minute live reading, all 10 pages written from Jamie. I'm putting a link. Thank you so much, Jamie. Thank you, everyone.
Course.
And may
Thank
you
you,
have
everyone.
blessed new beginnings. May this energy activate you now of Aries, or whenever the time for you that you have the courage to jump in. Thank you.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.